What is super interesting, though, is that while they agreed to this language, when I asked the industry what's going to happen when this bill moves over to the House, they said, well, we won't oppose it, but we're also not going to support it. We'll sign in neutral.
You recently reported on the passage of a bill, which isn't that surprising. That's what happens a lot in the legislature. But one of the bills highlighted sort of that legislative sausage making, as we said, but also how the influence of lobbying, or how lobbying is involved in the process of passing bills. That's, of course, nothing new. But maybe highlight a little bit about that bill as it related to the insurance industry. And it was originally a consumer-focused bill, and it kind of ended up helping the insurance companies in Washington State in the end. What was that about?
So the three largest nonprofit insurers in the state have now amassed surpluses of about $4.5 billion. And this has happened while premiums have been going up in some years by double digits, out-of-pocket expenses for individuals and also for small businesses that buy in the small group market have been going up. So everybody's paying more. And at the same time, while these are not for-profit companies, they are sitting on a lot of money. And that's caught the attention of lawmakers. What's interesting is that when these companies ask the state insurance commissioner for approval to increase their rates, Insurance Commissioner Mike Kreidler is not allowed to consider those surpluses in deciding whether the rate increase is reasonable. So the original proposal was to require him to take those into account. And the insurance companies didn't like this. They also didn't like the fact that it only applied to the nonprofits, not to the for-profits. And so the change that happened was the industry, working with the insurance commissioner's office, wrote amendments, or an amendment to the original bill. And that amendment, which was adopted on the floor of the Senate and ultimately passed off the floor of the Senate, says that the insurance commissioner may consider those surpluses, but doesn't have to. And at the same time, he does have to take into account some things that the insurance company wanted considered, like whether they have assets that they need to invest in the future that may cost them money, that surplus money could be used for. So it was a really interesting case where the prime sponsor actually on the floor of the Senate said, if it looks like the insurance industry and the carriers and the insurance commissioner worked together on this language, you're right, they did. And I think that moment revealed how a lot of the sausage making, as you describe it, works here, where you've got interest groups working very closely with, in this case, a regulator or lawmakers to craft something that, in the words of the insurance industry, they could live with. What is super interesting, though, is that while they agreed to this language, when I asked the industry what's going to happen when this bill moves over to the House, they said, well, we won't oppose it, but we're also not going to support it. We'll sign in neutral.
You can see more of Austin's reporting on these and other topics at nwpb.org. Thank you for joining us here in the unique Northwest.